Hi team, thought we'd introduce you to our new layout room and give you a bit of a look at the Loco collection and let you in on some of our plans for this freshly finished blank space. But first, I'll do a quick debrief on last year and our plans for this coming year. Fortunately, we didn't make it to Christchurch Train Show last year, which was unfortunate. We also didn't get the DFT or the B over the line, as you probably all are well, which we're also not excited about that either, but we couldn't do much about it, unfortunately. The Woodville weekend last year was great, again, as it was the first year. It's a great get-together. It's great to catch up with people. Wellington Train Show, that was a great train show. Again, the organisers do an awesome job on that one. Michael finished the signages decals, which has been a job, well, a project that's been on our whiteboard, as it were, for better part of 2 years. So it's taken ages in the planning to finally find the right fonts, find the right logos, find the right sizes of every flavour of sign you could ever want on a New Zealand railroad. So he did an awesome job on that one. Finally got that over the line. They look great. So all in all, it was a bit of a rough year last year. So we're glad to see the back end of that. Our 2026 plans, well, obviously first up in a few months' time will be Woodville, which is a weekend we're starting to really enjoy, looking forward to. It's a great weekend. Everyone gets together, chew some fat, eat some food, and hopefully get something accomplished out of it at the end of the weekend. It's a weekend we now look forward to. Obviously, we need to finish the DFT and the DFB. We are planning to get to Christchurch this year. Nothing seems to be stopping us at this point. So if you're planning on being in Christchurch, then by all means catch up. With the DFT and DFB done, we can then also finish start the DJ. It'd be good to get that started. I'm kind of looking forward to a new project, but I don't want to start that while I've still got the DFT bouncing around in my head. Then there'll be the Wellington Train Show by then, so that's always, again, good to look forward to, good to catch up with people. What else was there? Oh, some people asked us about the flux we use. So I'll put a bit of a story on our website journal section about how we do it or what we use. It's not that difficult. I won't go into depth here, but it's not that difficult. Don't use Dazzle, it's too strong. So, like I said earlier, this is our new layout room, freshly finished. So from the ground up, the VCC also needs to function in here because currently bits of it are scattered all over the house. And we need to assemble everything in the dining room in order to package stuff up and carry on the day-to-day stuff that the VCC requires. So this room has to fulfill double functions. That starts with this. This may seem a little overkill for a layout room, but I can hear you saying it. Yes, it's one of those workshop type toolboxes. It's got wheels on it. This one came from Mega Mitre 10. But believe it or not, it's actually a relatively economical way of going if you want drawers under your layout, as it turns out. Is from what I've seen in my time of seeing layouts, is they have a habit of collecting those plastic bins underneath them, or any other manner of boxes, and if you're lucky they'll be covered in some sort of curtain on some elastic mesh something. No, thank you. We're not up for that. So we can wheel these out from underneath the layout when we need to package stuff up for the VCC. There'll be 2 of these. They'll be going back to back when we're using them, and then they can be wheeled back under the layout when we just want to play trains. The second function of these will be for when we have friends around or guests around to play trains. We will be wheeling maybe one of these out, and it can be a coffee leaner or bar leaner, as I am using it here. It's just a lot tidier, and for what you would run around trying to build a cabinet for, or buy some sort of cabinet and then attach wheels for it, this is a lot more economical. So the layout will sit above this. We'll keep you updated on that one. What was the next thing? Oh, yeah, that's right. So the layout is going to be a horseshoe, so it'll go down this wall, the long wall here, and the short wall behind you. It's going to be a point-to-point shunting puzzle. Now, for the longest time we've been in this house, and we've been planning this room, a very long time, Michael's always wanted Waitakere to sit along this wall. But it sounds like I may have convinced him that shunting Waitakere, for how large it is, would be pretty dang boring. So, like when the needle goes across the record, scratch that. I got informed the other night. We're now doing Waiotera here probably to Cumu over there. So all you Aucklanders would probably be excited to see that get built. It'll be a more interesting shunting puzzle, I think. I'm glad he finally came around to the right decision. It's going to take a while, but we'll keep you updated on how it all goes and bring you along for the ride. And like I promised earlier, let's go take a look at the locomotives. So I'll get you off the tripod and we'll go look at them. Alright, here we are. Here is the Loco collection as it currently stands. We'll start at the bottom and work our way out because the most interesting stuff is at the top. So, Michael has an absolute fascination with Kiwi lager. So, of course, that's in here. So, actually, I'll scooch on a bit more to there as well. So, all 3 of these are South Dot kits. I think everything is painted in South Dot paint except for the Kiwi Lager Green. Pretty sure. Obviously all the decals are ours. We'll make a brief stop by this Z. Nothing against South Dot's products here. The Z went together really, really well. I tried something a bit different with this weathering. It didn't quite come off as well as I would have liked, but the decal still went on it fine, and it still looks fine. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist, I guess. Both of these UKs, way back in the day, the VCC had a UK, but unfortunately we don't have access to that mould anymore, so that's on the whiteboard to do as well. But both these UKs exist because one, as you can hopefully see, has the transition head in it, and the other the NZR coupler, which work together great. No issue there. If you want to run KDs in your wagon stock and put NZR couplers on your loco stock, I wouldn't see any problem with that. These two go together fine. These two containers, though, I will mention these especially. These come from a company called 164 Models. Now, I got these, maybe 6 or 8 years ago. They were pretty pricey at the time, but that company builds stuff for vehicle dioramas for the Asian market. So they come complete as one, already painted and decaled. I just lightly weathered the roof of the one and then kind of went to town on the Maersk one, because why not? It's a container. So if you're interested in them, I looked them up last night before doing this, and the price of them has come down quite a bit. But they look great. Oh, they do have opening doors on them, so I just PVA'd them shut, and they've never been an issue. Next we have the pair of DFs. So this fruit salad DF is an Alec Fenton DF, and this blue one is my first design out of DFT. Now, there's a bunch of stuff that I did to this DFT that I implemented on the DF as well, so it's not 100% a Fenton kit. But what is on the to-do list is back an example of you never know how long this plastic's going to last. I did all these hand grabs in 3D printed plastic, and as you can see, the plastic is just failing, and I've already replaced some of them. So it's definitely on the to-do list. We need to replace all those at some point. That's the long hood of our current DFT situation. That one's turned out a bit of a dud, unfortunately. I made a few drawing errors, but we've hopefully remedied that, and we've got new long hoods coming, so it's one of the many delays for that. We'll go up here. So this long hood, I don't think I've put many photos out there because it was a top secret job at the time. But that's 5310's long hood. It was a bit of a trick trying to get all these angles in here to work. And that one's a dud, that's why it's in here. So, yeah, we have the ability now to do 5310 if anyone's keen. I'll just take them out. Next up we have my on-track loco, completely fictitious colour scheme. But at the time, it was back in probably about 2006, on-track was its own thing, and they had a bunch of troubles getting locos out of toll to run work trains, since the DBRs were supposedly coming offline. So there was a bunch of talk in the business that on-track could buy them and do them up. So at the time I went, yeah, I'll give that a crack, and did a bit of a colour scheme up for it. There's a bit of a small backstory in the fact that it sat in an office, manager's office in Wellington train station for probably a year when Carrier version Mark II came out. Quinky dink? Maybe. Anyways, next two or Scooch. So these two DXs are both being built by King Cuz That's Ken Cousins, if you've never met him. Michael's had these two since, well, they moved down here with us, so over probably 25 years old, these two. And they still look fantastic, given their age. They're both Railmaster kits, but Ken did all the chutes for the sides of them, for the DXBs, or DXCs rather. So that's pretty much the bulk of the difference, really. And they're in two different colour schemes, obviously, as you can see. But yeah, they still look great. I definitely wouldn't change them now. And any sort of, like, there's plenty of upgrades we could do them, but you're just risking the paint. You'll just make it look worse. So they will stay as they are. This DX has its own special story. This is the first Loco I ever built. It's a sign of how far the hobby's come, really. Not sure if I can get it on here or not. If I can get it in focus, but you'll see these aerials back here. They've all been scratch built because, well, back when this was built, probably 20 years ago, those aerials didn't exist in a casting. You're welcome. And you can see that paint is chipping. This Loco has been to, God, probably every train show in the country, probably twice. There are other flaws in it, like you'll see that this was a hand-masked paint. It's not a decal, because the decals didn't exist back then. So, whilst she is showing her age, I'll never get rid of it. So most of this Loco was painted in flow core at the time, because South Dock didn't have the range of paint at that time. Definitely showing your age, but it's a sign of how far we've come, I guess. These two, if you've been to any train show, and well, particularly for the DG, not so much for the DF, if you've been to any train show in the last 5 years, you would have seen it in person. Out of the two of them, I think the English Electric DF is definitely my favourite. I think it's easier to build. I reckon it's probably a good beginning project as well. If you like streamliners, there's a lot of finicky stuff about the DG that it's just not quite so beginner friendly. They're both mostly white metal. There are some grills and stuff in there. And the headstocks and things like that are brass. But the DF is just such an impressive locomotive. It's huge. Just huge. But we didn't do much to it from the online kit, but it does have our nice new windows and the lenses for the headlight and tail light. They were all new add-ons. This grille, where are we? This one here, that's a new etch. These ones on the roof, they're all new. Yeah. These two are these two travel to all the shows as well. I think this one is an online, but it's got, yep, it's a Marks Model Works underframe in it. Just because, really, give it a crack, why not? That one is a, Brab's built that one. It's the example of our high-low buffer, of how you don't want saggy couplers, which is why these two both go to train shows, which is why they sit in here. we'll move on up here. Here's Michael's DBR. So this DBR is also built by Ken. It has a lot of telltale signs that Ken built it. But it's probably as old as the 2DXs and still doesn't look terrible for its age, to be fair. If I was to have a guess, it's probably got Loco paint on it for that vintage, I would guess. And of course he has a DC in virtually every colour, so. But this one was also a Ken Cuz build. Michael's known Ken Cousins since he was a teenager getting into the NZR hobby. That's not how long we've known him, to be fair. So he built a lot of locos for Michael. There's our DSC, sorry. Again, this one I'm really proud of. Like, I love this loco. This loco came out so good. I think if you weren't into streamliners, but you wanted a beginner-friendly project, this one would be up there on my list. So these sides are brass. This cab is brass. The running boards are white metal. The lid end and catches are white metal. There's not really a lot you can even melt. Not really. Even the fuel tank is brass etch. The bogies are brass cast. A few other bits and pieces added on there. So I've added on our header tanks. So that's an extra part that you can get for them, because some have a triangular header tank and some have a square one. So we couldn't really fit it in with the kit, because depending on the number you want, you can't really get it to... You can't fit them all in the same box, pretty much. Well, you can fit them, but we need to be able to make a kit. So it's an optional part. But it also has our new aerials on it, which is nice. So, as I mentioned earlier, Michael was a fan of the weird colour schemes, and this one is no different. This one was also built by Ken. In fact, both of these were built by Ken. So he's got the Kiwi Lager loco to go with his Kiwi Lager passenger cars, which he likes. And of course, if you're going to do Kiwi Lager, you might as well do Tasman as well. So it's fair to say he's a DC fan. It'll be a sad day when they're all gone, for him at least. So these two are virtually the only steam locos we have. So this one is my K. It's 909. It's one of the Asian Ks. So back in the 1980s, I think it is. I think it was about then. There was a whole bunch of Ks done in like a mass production. So they're all brass. From what I understand, I haven't pulled this one apart, and I'm not likely to. The boiler and everything is brass etch and things like that. So I'm pretty sure the tender is brass etch. But I have admired them from afar for a long time. For a mass-produced loco out of the 80s, it looks fantastic. So I got the second hand, so the previous owner must have looked after it pretty damn well, really, because it still looks great. They don't produce them anymore, so that's why they're rare. And I managed to acquire one in pretty good nick. This K is Michael's K. I won't scooch the other one apart because you need two hands. This one is a Ken Cuz build as well. This is the online white metal K, but Cuzzy built that one from Michael many moons ago. Also an impressive locomotive, but both great models really. There is one more. We'll scooch over here so this loco sits on top of the cabinet because it's got its own lid. See if I can, there we go. So this is a commission we got Ken to do for us when a good friend of Michael's, Tim Dorber, retired from working in train control. Michael and Tim worked together really closely a lot. So we commissioned it, got the case made and the base made and all that good stuff. Unfortunately, Tim lost his battle with the big C, so that's why it's here pretty much, because the family decided that that it should come back here. So we are now the new custodians, I guess you would say, of this DJ. But also, thanks to living in its case all its life, it's never been anywhere. It doesn't even have a mechanism in it. It still looks fantastic. I'm guessing, even though it wasn't that long ago, Ken still would have been doing his own paint mixing. I would put money on it. And the weathering still looks great on it too. So yeah, that's the loco collection as it stands now. As you can see, I have made a bit of a mess in this cabinet. So I'll sign off here and I'll go sort that out, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. Bye.